to me, it does feel like an overheated gold rush now. But most end customers came here as a migrant to Australia. They like the $2 reject shop and they're buying crap. What happens to a battery when the solar retailer who brought it into Australia themselves, if they made enough money and decide to retire and close the company, what happens then?
Well, the battery's worthless if there's no one left to support it. The battery is only as good as its installer.
Presented by Your Energy Answers.
Welcome to the latest YEA podcast. And today we have a guest who has been with us once before and he impressed us so much. He's an encyclopedia of knowledge in solar and he runs his own company very successfully. We have Derek McKercher from Perth Solar Warehouse, also known as PSW Energy. Welcome.
Thank you, Marcus. Thank you for having me again.
Did I get all that right?
Well, I think you built me up a little bit, but I'll take it, and hopefully I can live up to your recommendation.
Well, we've just had a bit of a pre-meeting chat, and we're in December right now, getting towards the end of December, doing the interview, and it's fairly busy with the solar battery rebate.
Yeah,
and we've released yesterday evening a video saying the rebate, the way it's running right now, Treasury has said, hang on, there's a lot of money going out. Do you know how many installs we're doing currently a day?
Well, if it was anything by your remarks, it's around about 2,000. Is that right?
Yeah, you do. He's thrown me right under the bus. Because again, we talked about that before. You should have played surprise and had a guess.
Well, I was quite surprised anyway.
On average, about $9,000. So if you do the math on that, that's 18 million a day, 90 million a week. If we're not working Saturday, which some do. And that makes it the month a run rate of 360 million bucks. So Treasury, they're usually 6 months behind what's going on. By the time it's made all these ways through bureaucracy, they finally one day woke up and go, holy moly.
Well, I can see it running out pretty quick.
Yeah. So I think the most important thing for the industry is to have some certainty, because for them to leave that void, Emmy Blind Freddie can work out that 2.3 billion is not going to get us to December 2030. They planned that it was $2,300 on average because they promised us a million battery for 2.3 billion. So you do the math, it's 2,300 average rebate. Are you selling a lot of batteries with $2,300 rebate attached to it?
No, we're selling a lot more. Yeah, the bigger batteries now, they're very popular.
Yeah.
A lot, especially if you go in the all-in-one category, they like to stack them right up to around about 40, 50 kilowatt hours and maximize that rebate potential.
Well, that's true. And look, there's a plus and there's a minus about it. I don't have a problem if somebody gets a SunGrow or a Seek with let's make a Seek 30 kilowatt inverter, and you can actually use that battery and charge your car fast and do whatever you want to do with it. But would you agree that there are some of the cheaper variety where the inverter capacity and the battery, it's kind of like the two sizes are not really very aligned?
Yeah.
Are you selling some of those yourself?
No, we're not. No. But I do see it. And
can you explain what the problem is?
Well, it's going to take a lot of time to be able to discharge the battery. So 5 kilowatt hours or 5 kilowatts, if you've got a 50 kilowatt hour battery, we're looking at 10 hours before you can discharge the whole entire thing.
So which basically means, I keep on saying, is you're sucking on a big pina colada through the smallest possible straw. Oh my God, it's going up my nose.
It takes a while.
Yeah. So seriously, I mean, I know you say people want bigger batteries, but they want bigger batteries right now because they're getting all that extra money. I mean, $4,000. I've seen $4,000 batteries advertised, no backup, and they suck up $18,000 worth of the rebate.
Yeah.
At that point in time, I'd say it's a little bit out of kilter.
It's not what it was intended for, and I think the average home was intended to be around about 15 to 20 kilowatt hours, and so the distribution isn't going to be as
it's not going to last as long.
It's not going to last as long. No.
Yeah. So, but the fact is that I suppose you could argue that if you down the track have the EV and you want to utilize as much solar as possible, it makes sense to maybe do go bigger battery, like your investment in the future. But I would also argue that then in those cases, maybe within the battery, the inverter capacity is smaller, maybe there has to be a staked battery rebate. And I personally think 25 to 30 kilowatt hours is where they possibly stop. And if you got enough bucks to go with 50, well, then pay for it.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair. It's a reasonable solution to be able to get that distribution out there. I never really envisaged people getting more than 30 kilowatt hours, to be honest. I thought 2 Powerwalls would have been ample for most homes across Australia. So I think capping it at around about 30 kilowatt hours would be ideal in terms of the rebate. 50 kilowatt hours seems a little bit surplus to requirements. And as we can see, all the budget busters have come out, and it's quite fascinating to come over to the other side of the country and see the advertising that you're getting in New South Wales and how it varies to what we're getting here in Western Australia.
So the door-knocking bargain busters haven't arrived in WA yet?
Oh, they're there. I don't think they're as voluminous as what they are over here. No. So we've got a few that are quite common, but then it's very interesting to see how it's marketed over in New South Wales.
But I mean, how do you stop it really? I mean, to me, it does feel like an overheated gold rush now, where all the carpetbaggers from the pink bats variety have come. They're bringing the batteries even in themselves, which means the warranty is very, very thin. But most end customers, they came here as a migrant to Australia. They like the $2 reject shop, and they're buying crap. What happens to a battery when the solar retailer who brought it into Australia themselves, if they made enough money and decide to retire and close the company, what happens then?
Well, the battery's worthless if there's no one left to support it. The battery is only as good as its installer. If you've signed up for, and we're signing up, well, our commitment to customers is for the next 10 years, if not longer. That's why we have PSW life support. But I do see a lot of companies come and go when you have a hyper-stimulated market, and probably a good message for anyone considering a solar or battery solution is to make sure that the package is the installer and not necessarily the manufacturer or the product that they're buying, because it becomes very difficult to service after the point of sale if your installer's no longer around.
But, I mean, some of them will tell you that they are the biggest in Australia.
Well, that depends on time. I think time adds context to size.
So you think it's a bit like a souffle. It rose a lot.
Yes.
But it'll collapse very quickly. And when you actually want to eat it, there's not much substance
Not so much substance at all. I think it's quite well known that there are a few companies out there that started up on July 1.
Wow. But they don't have to disclose that, do they?
No, they don't. You could do the research, but I think people do get, or it's easy to be distracted by the bright lights and the big numbers, or the small numbers in this case, for a big product.
I've seen batteries installed on bricks, on muddy surfaces, where I believe with a good rainstorm, the weight of that battery will push down and could even then go off the wall. Again, a couple of brackets, but they're gone just into mortar, not even into the brick. Isn't there any quality control in the install?
Well, I think there is. It depends on the region that you're in. Some states have a high, what do you call it?
Like an inspection
service.
I think Victoria is pretty rigorous on it, is it?
Victoria, they do have
They like their bureaucracy.
And I can tell you that even in Western Australia, our inspections have increased. So credit to the local authority there. And I think anyone who is quite young in their time on the tools or in their certification phase are having a higher rate of installs inspected. But in saying that, there's a large volume of installs, so it's probably still a reduced percentage.
Right, right. So look, we don't even know if those battery rebate, by the time this program goes to air, we could have no battery rebate.
Well, that would be disappointing.
Well, I think people who watch this who are in the solar space, if they go through, the government decided to build this up and then suddenly put in a too hard basket and completely stop it, I think it would cause the biggest bloodbath that this industry ever seen, and I've seen a few. I mean, so disappointing is possibly a very mild word. I mean, you are allowed to swear on this program. I mean, seriously, the government has a couple of options, haven't they? They got the option to fix a few things that have gone a bit off the rail. They got the option of fixing these things and putting a little bit more money in it. Or they got the option, for example, to completely stop it and give it, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, whatever. Out of that option, if they decide to stop it, just tell me generally from a distributor's point of view what you understand from solar retailer, from your business. I mean, you're booked out till when?
We're booked out to June 26.
That's a boom. We're in January, we're in December. Nothing bad with that. I mean, there's people who have chosen you as a company because you have been around for over a decade and you have gone through the solar coaster and you're being at the other end and you're picking product that is there with long-term support in Australia. So for all of those reasons, some people are willing to wait. But what would happen now if the rebate stops and let's say they go, well, bad luck, anything past March we're not supporting?
Yeah, well, it'd be terrible. There's no doubt about it. We've already had to endure a scenario where they announce these rebates, and instantly it's like a vacuum for customers until
nobody buys anymore.
Nobody buys, and so getting through those periods for any installer or retailer is always a tricky one. And then if you were to have an abrupt end to such a thing, then you're going to have another vacuum, and I don't think it would be a very pleasant one to experience.
This man is so mild in his expressions. It's not a very pleasant one. I'm telling you, mate, it's a freaking bloodbath. It's not pleasant that there's 15 solar retailers who've just went bust in this town.
Well,
I mean, it's from a cash flow point of view. The reality is, I'm selling 3-4 batteries a week. Business going fine. Government says, there'll be a rebate in 3 months' time. From now to when that rebate comes, I have not selling a battery, and I will not sell a battery anymore. And half of the batteries that are already pre-sold and had a deposit, they will also stop the sale and wait for the rebate. So that's what normally happens when this stuff gets announced. That's why you want the announcement and the implementation usually very close to each other. But unfortunately, the bureaucracy will always need a period to wind it all up, employ the staff. I mean, it makes sense, get the rules sorted, all that stuff. So there's always 3 or 4 months in between. So that's already nearly killing you because you're suddenly, you've got to borrow ahead for the money that you might make down the track.
That's right.
But then you also got the issue of cash flow.
Yep.
Because suddenly the batteries are much more expensive than solar was. And so if that suddenly now stops, and you can't get the rebate, but you already ordered the stock.
Yeah, you will have a bloodbath on every level. So it wouldn't just be on installers; it would be on a distribution and even in finance.
I mean, you would nearly have to ship containers of batteries back to China, and had to ask the manufacturer to be kind enough to take them back. Otherwise, you'd be dead.
Or hopefully, supply prices drop. I don't think so.
like a glut of batteries. I like this man. He sees always a little bit of a silver lining in an absolute disaster. We had, civil war in America. There's 400 dead bodies there. Oh, this will be very useful for a blood bank.
Well, I think if anything, it goes to show it usually is better when we don't mess with the solar and energy market, but it's always going to be a contentious scenario where
Have you seen? I've thrown him right under the bus. He's now mentally in the American Civil War and thinking,
it's politics, Marcus. You know I don't like talking politics, but it's when politicians play with the solar industry, it does tend to cause a little bit more confusion, unrest, and it makes life a little bit more difficult.
Such a kind man.
The market should be able to grow organically. It was doing a pretty good job at it, I think, but obviously they wanted it to grow in a certain direction quicker, so they stimulated it, and fair enough. I think it's a good solution.
I mean, you look like you've benefited from it.
Oh,
you and many others.
I've aged a bit, mate.
So tell me this is good. I want to join you in the middle of the night, not figuratively speaking. I'm not coming tonight to the Hilton or Hyatt or the motel in Ashfield, wherever you are. But what are the kind of the thinking and the headaches that you've had over this rebate, where you're sitting there lying and thinking, I've got to sort this, I've got to that, I need more staff, I've got to maybe can't implement HubSpot right now because we're going to be too busy, so we're still got to work with the old system. I mean, what's going on in your head when you lie there at night? Because you're the one that has all the headaches. Your staff are still oblivious to half of the pain that's going on in your part of the world. What's going on? Where were the kind of key consideration? And even with the rebate changing, what is going on in your head right now? Please share.
It's so it changes every day.
But you got different headaches every day.
Yeah, absolutely. So from in the initial rebate announcements, the team was stretched in sales. So there was a point where even I had to get in and do sales, listen to the consumer and how that new dynamic has shifted, because what we were doing 4 weeks prior, all of those packages had changed completely and what customers wanted. And we have a position in the market where we're quite visual on the front end, so customers can find us, get a good product understanding online. But when those packages aren't resonating with what they're looking for, you have to do a quick change. And unfortunately, those things do take time. So it's learning what customers want from a package or a system.
So your whole front end on the website had to kind of quickly change to reflect the new battery stuff.
Yeah, but it doesn't quickly change. It takes about 2 to 3 months to actually revise that, get a new idea of what people want, what they're prepared to accept because we have a responsibility to deliver the information so they can make an informed buying decision. Now, sometimes if you deliver every single little detail, it becomes overwhelming. So we like to take a more itemized approach to solar and battery adoption, so people can see, I guess, a different price point between various components. However, if you itemize things a little bit too granular, then
they get confused.
Yeah, it gets very confusing. So it's almost a fine art, but the mentality has to shift as well. So how we advertise things was previously we would have advertised things before rebates. Now we're advertising things or products post rebates, and so all of that has normalized, which is good. In the first month or two, there wasn't that normalization that was there, but now there. And I think as an industry, we can all be quite complacent that we now have a level of direction that customers are making a buying decision, but there's a huge disparity between, I guess, the cost of a quality battery versus the cost of an entry-level battery.
Right. So I just want to give you a bit of a plug. It's PSW Energy we're talking about here in Perth. So if you got to his site, you can actually see all the different inverters you could choose from. You can see different panels you can choose from. And so it gives you the opportunity to kind of nearly pick and choose a little bit your own meal, a bit like you go into a smorgasbord and you're vegetarian, so you leave the meat alone, but you take a lot of more of the different vegetables. Is that right? Yeah,
well, everybody's different and what they want from a system. So our perspective is that if you did prefer an ultra high efficiency solar panel like AIKO, that you can see the cost difference of selecting an AIKO solar panel versus a a more mainstream Jinko solar panel.
But Jinko will actually say we got a 475 now too, except theirs is a not a plus tolerance, it's a minus tolerance. So you can potentially buy a 460, but it's labeled at 475, which I find always a bit strange. I don't think they should have and allow minus tolerances anymore, because the customers would expect to buy a 475 watt panel, and they didn't read the fine print that the panel can be plus and minus. And in most cases, when they do plus and minus, it is always minus, while AIKO only does plus.
Well, this is true. And
nothing wrong with Jinko. They've been around for a long time. They do make they make decent panels. But I just don't personally, any brand, I don't like the minus tolerance, because it's a kind of a bit of a misleading way, straight away, how you start that relationship. That's all.
Well, you're paying for something and you should be able to receive that.
That's right. And because in a string inverter situation, you got 12 panels, let's say, if one of them is only a 459, and even if you got a few 470s, they're all dragging it down to the 459, because the lowest hanging panel is what everybody else's will follow. So there is a bit of an issue there.
Yeah, that's the...
He's got relationships with all these different panel manufacturers. He doesn't want to really get himself into trouble. I'm causing the trouble. Derek's the good guy, okay?
Well, I did go to Tindo last week.
Right. Have they got plus or minus tolerance or not?
All plus.
Yeah, do you see? That's what I like.
I actually saw them get flash tested. 444 watts. It was for a 440 watt panel.
Right. Well, that's what you expect. We'll come back to Tindo in a minute. We'll come back actually to some of the brands in a minute. But just one more time, you lie there. So let's say you've just got your website now right. It does reflect the rebate properly. And now the government may potentially changes again.
Heartbreaking if that's the case. However, I think
you're not going to have Christmas Eve going. You'd be changing your website.
Well, this is the Solar Coaster, Marcus, and this is the ride we're on. This is what we signed up for. So strongly discourage anyone that wants to follow an industry or take up a business in solar delivering solar power systems to homes. But
you get a warm and fuzzy to make a difference for people's electricity bill.
I know. It's good. And look, I should encourage it in the industry. I just think we should all play nicely together.
Look, personally, from the whole rebate perspective, now in hindsight that it's been running for close to 6 months, was it too generous?
Yes, it was. I think if you target the 30 kilowatt hour mark, it's spot on. I would have thought initially at the start of the rebate, most people would have been adopting around 20 kilowatt hours, and obviously there are people there with larger consumption, so 30 kilowatt hours would be good. Greater than that, I think they can afford their own to go to pay for a non-subsidized battery.
No, it makes sense.
High energy.
What about putting a kind of a wage limit on it? Let's say if you're a household and you make over 250, you probably have enough money to be able to buy yourself a battery one day. Should have been maybe a cap on the income level?
It does get a little bit tricky, I think, to be able to understand, or there are going to be many layers to I don't know how to phrase that.
I think I'm looking at your face, and I know what you're thinking. Can I just interpret for you, and you tell me if I got it right? The bureaucracy involved to filter out who's really or truly on 250 plus as a family, because some people have trusts and other people, they have a business where sometimes it takes years to get all the paperwork done, so it's not fully able to show what your income is. And so therefore the bureaucracy to follow that up and be able to establish that, and you need then another layer to do that checking. Sometimes the cost of that can be more than the benefit you're getting for excluding those people. And that's at least what the Treasury said, why, for example, that $300 rebate for electricity bills went to millionaires. Because they said for the amount of money that we're saving versus the compliance work that we now have to do to check who shouldn't get it, you just give it to everybody. It's actually the easiest way. And maybe that's nowadays, despite we have AI and computers and all of that, and plus I suppose these people vote too, so they want their votes. So, but just from make the 2.3 billion not great again, but last as long as possible.
Well, I think the longer we can make it last, the better. So if there was a means to continue it on without arresting it or cutting it all out, then please do it.
I mean, I hear regularly the ministers walking around and he says it's uncapped. Mm-hmm. I don't actually what that means really, because
I don't know what that means.
If the budget had allowed 2.3 billion, uncapped doesn't mean there's a check that gets written by somebody and doesn't have a meaning on the balanced budget somewhere. So if you spend more, somehow it's got to show up somewhere, and somebody is not able to get that money because that money is now going to the rebate. Nothing wrong with that. But in a principle, I would say it'd be nice that we're actually getting out with a statement by the government to create clarity of how this program is going to run between now and 2030. And because this government has such a huge majority, I'd say they'll be still around for a while. So whatever they now announce is what the policy should be. And then we have some bloody certainty for a while. Because at the moment, do you have any idea how that rebate is going to slow down, what changes, what happens when the money runs out, which we can work out happens in May, June next year? The 2.3 are gone. Would you think by now the government should possibly let the industry know what's going to happen beyond that?
Hopefully. I hope they're not in Christmas mode already, but at least they can come back in January and enlighten us a little bit more, because there is some concern around the industry. It happens on every level that we've got. So I know that there are distributors and manufacturers, they're all speculating what would happen.
Do I order? Do I not order? How much do I order?
Yeah.
Do I get into Australia as a late battery comer when there's already 70 manufacturers here and still invest, or is it the party's over and it's not worth coming? A lot of questions. So we need clarity.
Clarity helps.
Wow.
We didn't have any clarity during the West Australian rebate, and it's a very big stretch to get or to change everything on deadline days. So or on with 1 day's notice.
Now, by the way, talking about 1 day's notice, I was working for a large solar retailer at the time who had an installation network around Australia. I think it was 2008 or thereabouts when the Howard rebate got stopped, and they gave you 24 hours. We still had fax machines then, and people could apply and send fax and deposits and all that. I think we replaced those big paper rolls 5 times. We had 12 stairs up to the office. 4 people arrived in wheelchairs. We were so busy on the phone, we didn't even realize. And somehow miracles happened that day because they managed to get up those 12 stairs to drop their form off. Hallelujah. It was a day of miracle. I mean, what I'm saying is if there's suddenly, say, 48 hours to go, you will see hordes of, it'll be like a summer sale at one of the David Jones 20 years ago. So it's going to be crazy. So, but even and it's very hard. Unfair really, because there are some families who may be just building a house who really planned on having a battery, taking advantage of this rebate, and the house is not ready and by the date that the cutoff date is. So these things really have to be done well. I said in the other podcast, I said the government really learned how to fly this plane really well, but it's a Concorde, and they're still looking at the manual how to slow it down and land the bloody thing.
Well, hopefully they can bring some clarity to the scenario very, very soon.
Yeah, sorry, I'm causing total confusion. Yep. Talk about WA. You guys had a bit of experience with that rebate there, and that rebate insists on VPP. Oh my God. You can, but later on we can zoom back in anyway, can't we? Yeah. Should I say anything on the podcast? That's just me being fat. Sorry, Derek.
So where were we?
In WA, where you're based in Perth, you guys actually had a rebate that insisted on the VPP.
Yes.
So can you explain how that worked and how it's went down?
Well, it didn't initially insist on the VPP. On deadline day, June 30, it was all announced that it would be mandatory VPP. It would be spread out. I think it was oh God, we can cut that bit out, can't we?
When you say "oh God," or just in general? Do you know? Well, just describe it. I'll start again from fresh.
Yep.
And then just give us the general rundown. I'm more interested in how the audience has perceived it, not so necessarily the rules and stuff, but how the end comes out. Do some of them go, stuff it, I don't want the WA, I'm already getting enough for the federal anyway, so stuff it, or did some of them, so I just want to know what the uptake was, how customer felt, how it's running now, if they're in the hands of the fact that there's only one retailer and how it's kind of maybe a bit of a monopoly without whinging in too much because you've got to work with those guys. So that kind of thing. So let me start again. WA, where you're based in Perth, Perth Solar Warehouse, is one of the few places where you actually, to get the local state rebate, you actually have to join a VPP, isn't it?
That's correct.
How is that all working out?
I think adoption's quite good actually. People initially there was a little bit of bad taste in the mouths of people to be forced onto it. Some people described it as a what do you call it? A
Big Brother?
I forget what the actual term was, but either way, I think it's been quite well received now in terms of adoption. Most people I think.
Would you think it's more than 50% that take it?
I would say so. Yeah.
Right. Do you guys sell it actively, or is it such a pain in the paperwork that you really only give it on when people are aware of it?
It is a bit frustrating on the paperwork side, but you get used to it.
Right. Is it still operating right now?
Yes. So
you can have 2 rebates?
You can.
So we've already explained that the federal was pretty generous.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in WA, you can do a
$1,300 extra.
Right.
Plus.
For what size?
For 10 kilowatt hours.
What about if you have 20, 30 or 40 bad luck, you still get the money or not?
Yep.
Well, in New South Wales, ironically, should I not be wrong, you get it. They have a VPP kind of condition too, and you get the rebate. But if it's over 28 kilowatt hours, you don't get it. Maybe they think that if you're that rich that you can afford that big battery, you don't need the government money. I don't know. I don't know how it works. But there was.
So does that mean people were skipping it in New South Wales?
Well, the ones who buy the really cheap stuff on 50 kilowatt hours, they're taking it. They're losing that opportunity. So, but what do you think about VPP as a whole? I mean, should other people have the right to touch my battery?
Well, I think, given that it's government money, and if we want to invest it into to supporting the grid, then VPP seems like the logical decision.
Right. So you're saying if you're taking a decent slice of government money, then there has to be some responsibility back into the benefits to the government, which is blackout protection through VPP.
Yeah. And to build one of the most stable grids in the world. I think we're doing a pretty good job at it. I don't know.
Oh my God, we're going to get hate mail here now. Really? Do you think so? I've had blackouts here lately.
Have you?
Yeah.
Well, in Western Australia, it's not too bad. But where I go in other places around the world, they really experience blackouts. They have rolling blackouts.
Oh yeah, I heard a friend of mine in South Africa says they have one of the highest battery uptakes in South Africa in the world, but not solar. I'm like, how does that work? And he goes, well, what happens is because there's rolling blackout for certain times of the day. So when there's no blackout, everybody fills up their battery. And then when there's the blackout, they're all kind of hanging off their battery to still keep everything going. So it's kind of like the battery is half the grid.
Yeah.
That'd be terrible if we go into that way.
It would be horrible.
Yeah.
And that's why I always Well, we do complain a bit, but I look at what we have and I think, do you know what, we're in a pretty good place.
Right, compared to others.
Yeah, compared to others.
Because, I mean, the funny thing would be there, you look at your clock and you go, oh, my battery got 20% capacity. I've only turned everything off. We've only got 2 hours left. And if the main power doesn't come on, we're stuffy-dufty.
Yeah.
That's why you need solar.
Yeah, yeah.
Talk about why do you need solar. Have they killed the feed-in tariff in WA as well?
Yeah, it's down to around about 2 cents.
I mean, why isn't anybody taking them to task for not making a grid that is fit for purpose? Because the solar growth has been like that. Any planner 10 years ago could have worked out where we're sitting with solar now, would have worked out what the capacity in the grid is, where the manufacturing is going, and worked out we need storage.
Yeah, well, the argument is that storage should have been sold with solar from the start. But
well, true, but hang on. If I let this solar into the grid, and in some instances,
just to the grid's defence, I'll give them one thing: is it was originally planned as a single direction. Well, in Western Australia, it was planned as a single direction grid, and we've added, I guess, bi-directional capabilities to the grid, and they've had to turn this big ship around to adjust it. In Western Australia, we have waited a while though, and
you have what?
We have waited a while though for
the ship to turn.
Yeah. So look, they're making adjustments now. We're finally up to 10 kilowatt single phase, which is great.
You're allowed to put that much into the grid, is it?
We can now.
What it used to be?
It used to be 5.
Wow.
And that's where your feed-in tariff stops. But most people they've forgotten about that now. The feed-in tariff is irrelevant.
Yeah, but hang on a second. Okay, so I'm going to paint a scenario for you. The government will stop the rebate at one stage.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, batteries have come down in price a bit, but they're still not really, really cheap, the better ones.
Mm-hmm.
And in the olden days, what was before the batteries come through? What was your solar battery ratio? Like you sold 10 solar system and 2 batteries, that kind of thing?
Ooh, that would even be quite a stretch, to be honest.
So it was 10-1.
Yeah.
Maybe even 20-1.
Yeah.
Okay. And now it's literally 10-0, meaning 10 batteries with solar or 10 just batteries adding to solar, and solar by itself, how many out of 10?
1.
Just.
Yeah.
And with the low feed-in tariff, the benefit of solar is really now only if you've got pool pumps, if you're home during the day, if you have modern washing machines and things that you can kind of time for the middle of the day. Because what a lot of people would have done, which they didn't realize where solar gave them the benefit, they got their 10 cents feed-in tariff, therefore they exported 10, 15 kilowatt hours. They got $1.50's worth of value. They put 5 kilowatt hours back in on 30 cents. It balanced. They got a low bill. They felt good. And they thought, oh, solar's helping me. That's gone.
Mm.
So you will never go back to selling 10 solar or 20 for one battery.
That's right.
Because solar by itself, the benefits have been reduced significantly due to the drop of the feed-in tariff. So it makes much more sense now to sell a solar on a battery.
Mm-hmm.
But if a solar on a battery isn't getting the rebate anymore, that price point could be sitting, what, at 15, 18?
Yeah. Yep.
Now, how high have to electricity bills to become for the pain to be so big that people find 18 grand to make that pain away? Wouldn't you say that overall the number of systems installed and demand will actually drop significantly because the battery rebate has forward purchased now?
Yeah,
and we're going to fall into such a big black hole potentially, and you haven't got solar anymore to just dig you out. It's not nice, the picture I'm painting, and you probably don't like me for it, but has it got a sense of reality?
It does. We should all be self-consuming what we produce anyway. That's always the intention. Maybe we start designing systems again that are more relative to what someone's energy consumption profile.
But I mean, there's the big black sheep in the wall Is that a saying? No, I don't think so. There's the big black cat in the room, which is the EV.
Mm.
And I mean, we've built solar in 2007 with 175 watt panels and a 1.5 kilowatt system, which seemed fine because it took a smidgen off the bill, but it wasn't really fit for purpose for most houses already at the time.
Mm.
You now want to build a system that's fit for purpose for the next 20 years.
Well, that's true.
So you've got to consider the EV.
Yes. We're embarking on an electrification shift.
Which means a lot. Would you say putting the largest solar, because it's so cheap now really, on your house, on the roof, is really the smartest thing to do?
Oh, absolutely. Get that generation cost as low as possible.
Right. Because you're going later on, what happens if the government one day says, rego for petrol is now $4,000 a year, and for EV it's 900, and what's going to happen then? We're going to get EVs coming out of our ears, won't we?
Yeah, that's true.
Especially if the range can be 1,000 k's down the track. And yes, they're more disposable as a car. I would argue that you can't tinker on them as much under the garage and under the bonnet as you can with the older style petrol cars. I give them that. So they are much more disposable product. But that's what happened with furniture. That's even what's happening with clothing. So my point is, I don't think for the majority of people, that'll stop them buy a little shiny thing. So wouldn't you then say, if you now go to somebody to sell a solar system and a battery, that you would take their EV plans already into account?
Absolutely. We always ask customers if they're considering an EV in the future, because it does allow us to make sure that they're getting a solar PV system that has the capacity of around about 10 kilowatt hours per day per EV.
Right. So 10 kilowatt, drives you about 50, 80, 70, 80 Ks, something like that?
Yeah.
Depending on the model?
Yeah.
I think it's about 13 to 16 kilowatt hours for 100K?
Yep.
Right. Got it. Okay. So you do, and how many cars per family? 2?
Well, that at the moment it's 1. But I think most people should be realistically looking at 2. The way that what I'm seeing is on the way here, Marcus, I saw a lot of Holden dealerships are now BYD. And it's happened in Western Australia as well.
Right.
So
are you guys a little bit behind in WA?
Well, they do say wait a while. That's what it stands for. So Sydney's my crystal ball. Okay, I come here to see the future and then I go home.
Right. Okay. But you go to China a lot.
I do.
That's a bit of crystal balling, isn't it?
Oh, I love China. In terms of what I like seeing coming out of that direction is it's quite impressive.
I know, but I mean, mate, we've got the lithium. We don't have a battery industry.
No.
We just sell the lithium to them. They buy themselves some extra mine somewhere in Africa, and by then our lithium price has gone down. They are dominating a lot of stuff. I mean, to me, it comes across like somebody from China one day went to Australia, and they went to Mitre 10. Then they went to the whole dealership. And then, I don't know, maybe the Westinghouse washing machine factory. And they took photos of everything. And then I went back home and says, this is all the crap we have to build. Or not even crap. This is all the great stuff we have to build. And we build it really well, and we build it really cheap. And then we have a big, strong manufacturing industry, and we do it in such big volume that others can't compete cost-wise, and we own the market.
To be fair, I think they're innovating now as well.
That's maybe fair, but that's even more scary. The Germans are really hiding under the table now.
Well, we saw a beautiful showcase of their innovation in SIG Energy. Only 5 years ago, there was a void of that particular type of technology, all in one, full home blackout protection. I think they've really set themselves up as a trailblazer.
Right. I can see you had a few free China trips.
I pay for them myself, trust me. I do all of my product research. But and it's one of the few products that we after the amount of research, I thought looking at the specifications, looking at the factory, the personnel behind the technology, it was really going to be something. And
so I have to say, for most people, Derek came to me and said, there's a battery that I think is going to do really well. And you predicted that with Seek.
Yep.
You actually also said the WH Franklin wasn't such a bad battery.
Yeah, I don't mind Franklin.
And you liked the Tesla.
Yep, love the Tesla.
And you looked at the Goodwee recently and thought they came up with something not bad.
Mm-hmm.
But Tesla had a recall. I think Goodwee might have had one.
Mm-hmm.
Seek had one.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on with these recalls?
The recalls are real. They're a safety mechanism. And what we've seen is the manufacturers have been proactive in resolving it. So
You think it's a positive thing, is it?
Well, I think what we're seeing is how certain manufacturers perform under recall. And
so far, so good.
Well, it's our responsibility, though, as installers and retailers, to make sure these products are of merchantable quality. So when a company like PSW brings any product to market, then we're going to back it 100%, because we know that it is of merchantable quality. And if there is an installer-related issue, not a problem, we'll fix it.
So when you pick a product, do you actually physically drive to the factory and fly there and check it all out?
I just went to Tindo.
It's one of the products you're pushing now, is it?
Yeah, Tindo will be coming to the West to PSW. Yeah,
right. So let's talk about. I want to talk about Tindo in a second, but let's talk about what do you actually do to work out that this product that you decide to offer to your customers, that company is actually reputable, that they're doing the right thing. I mean, we've had one of the distributors, Rami from Solar Juice. He told me he flew to China, wanted to look at a panel, and in the factory they had all the windows open. And there were literally butterflies coming in and out of the place, and they found their way into the cells, into the encapsulation. So
I hope he didn't onboard that product.
No, he walked out fairly quickly. So my point is, what do you actually do there? You're not just whining and dining. Do they let you get on the factory floor?
Absolutely. That's exactly what I asked for, is participation on the factory floor. If there's it isn't just whining and dining, let me assure you. I know that things do get said around that, but most of this is off my own bat. It's in exactly the same as what Rami would have noticed. If there is issues with quality control that you can physically see in person, if you can get the information, the technical specifications readily and available, even marketing solutions to be able to offer the product in a good light, I guess.
So they're not just making it; they also understand what the audience would be and how they sell it.
Yeah,
right.
We've with a lot of in terms of our product vetting, we do use distributors, so we don't go direct to the companies, but we make sure that those companies are of sound quality before we onboard them through the distributors. So we have a layer of protection with our distributors, but if in the event that they're no longer in the market, then I want to make sure that the product that we've got on board is of sound quality.
Right. Now, we talked before that going big on a system, because EVs are coming, and therefore having a large solar as the engine to start off with is a smart thing. You might even lose your gas hot water system and move it into electric. You might one day find that induction cooking is something that you can entertain and you get out of the gas cooking. It just all depends on the price points of gas going forward, I'd say too. But that all adds to the consumption that you will have in your house with electricity. So if you build a solar system now, go for the biggest system. But the AIKO panel tends to be always 20, 30 watts more and has other features. Is that why you picked that product?
Yes. we love technical innovation, and AIKO is, if you hone in on the product data sheet, it is the industry leader by around about your 10% more. I think when you combine temperature coefficient, you combine the greater
which is
yield.
Just for other people, normal people watch it, the performance in hot weather, which is WA conditioner. So they're not just having a bit more wattage per square meter on the same size, but they're also performing better in hot weather.
Yeah, they're generating more power per degree above 25 degrees Celsius.
Mm-hmm. And then what about degradation? Pretty good too, which means the panel that used to be 500 slowly becomes 480, maybe over 10 years or something like that, 15. Again, their degradation a bit less than average.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't even notice it.
Right.
I think it degrades to around about 90% over the
25 years.
25 years.
Right. So that's the panel you recommend. Now, we don't have that many Australian manufacturers, but we do have one in the panel space, Tindo. You told me that you're going to pick them up as one of the panels to recommend. What's happened there?
Well, I know it might seem counterproductive we love the industry-leading specifications in terms of performance, but I think Tindo fits the customer like a good RM William boot.
Right.
And I think it's a good Aussie-made product that people, you're probably not going to shoot hoops in it. You're not going to outperform in comparison to the specifications like AIKO panels. However, you are buying something that's going to be built onto your roof for the next 20 to 30 years. And if you like the look and presentation of say an all black Tindo solar panel, then at least you've got the assurance that it's made in your own backyard. It should still look and perform as it is on the manufacturer nameplate. And if there are any concerns, then you've got, well, it's only in South Australia that you have to deal with.
Right. So you're saying, I like the Tindo panels because they're made in Australia. There's not many parts in a solar and battery system that I can throw at the moment. Maybe some of the racking is made in Australia. But other than the Tindo panel, are there other panels that are made in Australia?
Not yet.
Right. They are looking at, I think the government has been throwing some money at some of them to maybe develop another brand.
And if it does, it's a long way away.
Right. So if you're looking to support Australian manufacturing, then from your perspective, that's why you're recommending Tindo.
Yeah, and what a great time. If you're looking at your average cost per system, it's only a fraction more now to add Tindo solar panels.
Right. Okay. But I mean, panels as a whole have been, as a part of the system cost, come down significantly. So even, let's say, for example, the AIKO, let's say if a normal panel is 19 cents a watt from the distributor, they're probably 23, 24, 25. That's not that much over a 10 kilowatt system. The same with the Tindo. I'm not sure exactly what the price point there is, but if you do have a slightly higher price point on for your system, let's say $1,000 more, but you're getting those additional benefits, then in the bigger picture, when you save $4,000 a year over 10 years, it's 2.5% of the cost, isn't it?
Yeah, it's and I really do hope that people see that value. I think they will.
Is that what your sales team is trained to explain, the different benefits of various things, or?
Well, we do showcase the benefits of elite technology really well, I think, through our website and our sales quotation phase. And I'm hoping to do the exact same thing with Tindo, but in a slightly different angle.
Right. Now, how long have you been in the industry yet?
Well, me personally, for 20 years.
So you started as an installer, did you?
I started as a sole installer or a sole trader under McKercher ECS, and that evolved to McKercher Corporation, which is the company for Perth Solar Warehouse and PSW Energy.
Right. So 20 years, I mean, that is quite long, and it's probably changed a lot to what you initially kind of envisaged. But you're a guy that's always looking at innovation and looking ahead. If you could paint a picture of the industry in the next 2 years, and then maybe even the next 5 years, I mean, are you planning that far ahead and think what might be coming, what might be changing?
Oh, we try to, but it always changes, Marcus.
The government makes the rules for you, is it?
I think that's the if you want a key to success is just be prepared to change.
Be flexible. I mean, do you think some of the bureaucrats realize what they're doing to people when they make those rules? I think there's only one
I know,
answer.
I'm like 25, I look this old already.
That's what the industry done to you, isn't it? Oh, God. But I mean, seriously, we've had in Australia now, in New South Wales, just now, a price increase, at least on the bill that I had. And I tell the company it's Glowbird. I was with Glowbird. I went there for 1 year. I don't know if I had the cheap trap you kind of bill, but my electricity, when I've done the calculation, is gone up. Let's say over.
Wait, what is Glowbird?
It's an energy retailer. So it's like AGL and like Origin.
Right.
And
we
all
don't
of
have
that.
that in Western Australia.
No, yeah, you're kind of a bit more mono. How many you guys got?
Well, we've got Synergy.
That's it.
Yeah.
You can have, it's like the Ford, Henry Ford, you can have a Model A in any color as long as it's black.
Mm.
So that's like you can have any energy retailer as long as it's Synergy, and that's it, is it?
Well, I think it will change. I think like WA, wait a while, that it'll no doubt open up in time.
I actually would argue that, look, it's a little bit of choice if there's competition is not bad. But somebody recently told me, and I haven't had a chance to check it because I fell off the chair. Do you know how many energy plants there are currently in the whole of Australia?
Energy
with
plants.
all the energy retailers that we have right across all the different countries, states. Do you know how many?
No. Tell
This
me.
person quoted me, and he's in the space. He has a website that scrapes all these different plants every night. 17,000.
Really?
17,000 different plants.
Wow.
It doesn't sound believable,
No.
doesn't it? The number is just too big. But what it means is basically the end customer in our part of the world has so much choice that they're so bloody confused.
Mm.
But all roads lead to Rome, meaning you go this way or you go that way, you still pay $1,000. I mean, this compare website that gives you that false hope that you can actually avoid a huge bill, it's all false dream, mate. You will still be, if you're not going into solar and battery and you help yourself, you're not going to get a lower bill.
Yeah.
I mean, that is now the reality, isn't it? There's no solar retailer that's going to be a charity and give you stuff for free.
No, there's nothing. And you're better off self-generating your own power.
Talking about charity,
Mm-hmm.
give me your perspective on the 3 hours of free power.
Well, they've got to soak it up somewhere, but I know
Meaning
there's
the solar.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Is there a sting in the tail? Is
well,
there such a thing as a free
you
lunch?
might know a bit more than me. I just sell solar power systems, Marcus.
And batteries.
And batteries.
But I mean, what do you think? I mean, it sucks it up in the middle of the day, so that's a good thing.
Mm.
But you need a smart meter.
Mm-hmm.
So that takes away 80% of the market.
Mm-hmm.
So people hear about it, and I still can't get to it.
You don't have smart meters over here?
We're getting them slowly, but a lot of them still don't have them. And a lot of them don't like them. Because what a smart meter does, I'm on a flat, I've got an older style meter. I come home at 6 o'clock. I don't get hit with the very expensive electricity at 6 o'clock, okay? It's actually still sitting at the same that I pay at 8 or 9 or 10. So from that perspective, some people, family comes home, it's a winter's night, it's cold, got to turn the aircon on or whatever heater they've got. That's what sucks up a lot of electricity. You've got no choice. You've got to cook on the electric stove. All of this is at the peak time of cost.
Mm.
Now, I get it. The energy retailer will argue, well, that's when the cost is high because our generation part is high because solar and wind has, maybe not wind, but solar has just kind of fallen a bit away. And that's why we need more batteries. But we don't have that many smart meters yet. Okay. But my key point is I've never found an energy retailer to be really a true charity.
No, they're not. They're for business.
And therefore, if they give you 3 hours of free power,
yep,
they will already now have teams and AI working on how much they charge you extra in the evening and on the supply fee to make up for those losses on the free power.
Yeah, that's true.
So if anybody falls for the free lunch thing, they've just doubled the price for dinner.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So what are you most excited about going forward in the next couple of 12 months, 2 years? What product have you seen? What about the vehicle to grid? What's happening there?
Well, vehicle to grid is always going to be a little bit slower where we're at, but loving the look of DC to DC charging that's coming out. We're seeing a high adoption rate.
What do you mean see a higher adoption rate? I mean, it's just kind of coming in, isn't it?
Yeah. Which it was initially a little bit slow.
Can you explain for normal people, what do you mean by DC-DC charging? What actually happens? You got an EV.
Yep, you've got your EV, you've got your solar PV system, you've got your battery system, and they're usually in the form of an all-in-one, similar to SIG Energy or.
So you buy the battery, the solar, and the EV charger as a infrastructure, is it?
That's right.
Right.
And you're taking away the conversion losses in DC to DC charging. So everything on the DC side can power your car straight away.
What about those ones where your car sits on the charger, let's say on a Saturday, and then the solar generates excess, it goes into your car, and then the cloud comes and it then stops and then only charges out of your solar. Is that now standard what you can program there? Is that nothing special anymore or what?
Yeah, if you've got with most battery systems, you've got to have an energy consumption monitor. So it sends a power sensor that says, "Hey, I'm exporting to the grid now. It's time to use power from the batteries." In the same form, your EV charger would be operated the same way. So your batteries are full. You've still got excess solar power coming in, starting to signal to feed out to the grid. Instead of feeding out to the grid, it now charges your car.
Right. But what about the model where your car comes in, you maybe charge it at work fully, you get into your house, you plug it in, you get a blackout, and your car actually still supplies your house. That is possible going forward, or is that already happening now?
I think that's already happening in many places.
So that can happen, is it?
Yeah.
My car, my EV can actually be my backup for my house, not just one little PowerPoint, is it?
Interestingly enough, I was actually at a winery, and he's full self-sustainable. This was in South Australia after visiting Tindo. I
visited Tindo, and then I decided to, go to a winery to check out their power consumption.
Well, the Barossa was on the way, wasn't it? But credit to him. The name of the winery, I've got to remember it. But
they haven't got a sponsorship deal with you. Don't worry about it.
No. But he's done a great job by even from the moment that he constructed it, made sure he had a big north-facing roof on his winery shed, filled it full of solar panels, has 2 Nissan Leafs, 80 kilowatt hour battery, and he's full self-sustainable.
Right, and so he hasn't taken advantage of the battery rebate
Ballycroft,
yet,
that's the name of the winemaker, Ballycroft. One of the first to have bidirectional charging.
Right.
Anyway.
But he would possibly be, is it actually advantageous to send your solar into your battery and then use your battery to suck it out to put it in the EV? Let's say you're away from home, you got your 48 kilowatt hour battery, you come home at 6 o'clock and your solar filled your battery and now you're pulling it out to put it in the car. So there's kind of conversion losses. Would you say most people don't care and still go with it, or is it something you should avoid? What's the story there?
Look, the conversion losses are minimal in the scheme of what we're oversizing everything now. Any way that you can soak up that power and use it, and it's cheap, low cost energy, then do it. I don't. We can argue all day about minute efficiency losses. I do like having more DC connected items in terms of us building energy ecosystems, but there's nothing wrong with AC coupling. Nothing wrong with it at all.
Okay. So should feel guilty if you use your EV to top it up a bit out of your battery.
No. In terms of supplying your EV from your battery, it's not advised always, but
why? Because you're running your battery really hard, or is it?
But I think if you've still got the capacity to top up your car from your battery and you need your car to drive from A to B, then do it.
The alternative is not to drive, which is probably not happening. No, but I can't see anything wrong if I have a big battery at home. And I want to capture the solar instead of exporting in my battery now, to then come home at night and top my EV up out of the battery.
Yeah. Look,
that's the whole reason I got a big one.
If you've got the big 40, 50 kilowatt hour battery, then you could
even 100.
Yeah. Probably a less ideal way to go about it, but why not?
So tell me, why is it less ideal? I mean, for me, it's ideal because I'm getting my solar kept in the tank for the battery and then going to my EV, and I'm driving my EV for free. It's very ideal for me.
Well,
but give me the technical reason why this might be a little bit smelly.
Well, I'm used to designing systems based on an energy consumption profile and not oversizing everything to its maximum extremes all the time. So maybe I'm still warming up to this new concept.
Of just taking as much rebate as possible. If everyone would be like you and be responsible and give the customer only what he needs, we'll probably have a bit more rebate left.
Hopefully.
I don't know how this industry can always be just taken over by people who already know when they're going to go bust.
Yeah. Well, look, if you did size a system to your needs, and let's say your energy consumption is really only 13 to 15 kilowatt hours at night, you go and buy yourself a Tesla Powerwall, you wouldn't really be aiming to charge your car from the Tesla Powerwall. You'd want to use that Tesla Powerwall to supply your energy at night. That's responsible use, probably what a lot of countries do around the world. We're a little bit drunk at the moment and having a good old fun day down in Australia. So I'm sure they're sitting back with the popcorn over in every other geographical region. But let's see how it unfolds.
Like when it came to panels in the early days, the heroes of the early days was the BP Solar, the Suntech, Sharp, Kyocera. Kyocera's gone a long time ago. Sharp is not really selling panels in Australia. I think they still make a little bit under license. Suntech has gone bankrupt and resurfaced, and I think they're still making good panel. But what I'm saying is the early big brands that you thought would own this space go to inverters, SMA. A lot of changes. Now let's move to batteries. There was the LG Chem. There was the Solax, Tesla. Now, Tesla is still here. LG Chem had a major recall, still making batteries, but would have taken a huge hit in market share. Solax, to their credit, actually fixed some of the battery issues they had with the LG Chems because there were LG Chems in Solax. But when the battery died, that inverter wouldn't work anymore with the new batteries on the market. So the whole system was useless. So the warranty that Solax implemented, I think, on over 200 systems, meant that they actually replaced it for the customer with a whole brand new system. So good on them for the staying power in doing that. But now we have so many other new brands coming in. Is there going to be a bloodbath or what's going to happen? And where does Tesla sit in all that? I mean, they're still here. They're still selling reasonable. They've still got a good brand reputation. But in some way, the innovation of the latest product have let Tesla sit there and possibly have to innovate a little bit themselves.
Well, I think you'll see some innovation unfold from Tesla in 2026.
Have you been allowed to have a bit of a picky boo, have you?
Well, we've been given some product guidance.
You heard it on this channel first. He's now revealing everything that Tesla told him not to tell everybody else. Well, go for it. Have they? I think they swear you to secrecy, and they keep your children.
There's
somewhere.
no NDA on this, but it's
no. Forget about the children thing. That's absolutely not true.
But it's more a position of trust, and we have a good relationship with Tesla. I think people can be excited about what's coming for Tesla in 2026.
Okay, I walk in a bakery. I smell something in the back. I can tell if it's a cake or a pretzel or some Black Forest cake or something like that. I mean, just give me something.
What would you like to see come from Tesla
modular,
in 2026? For example?
The modular stuff seems to be working okay.
Yep.
Because, space is an issue. You got to really find good spaces for those batteries. If in order to roll your 50 kilowatt hours, you need to put 3 or 4 units up there, that's a lot of space you got to find.
Yep.
So so energy density, all those kind of things. So, just give us just a teeny weeny bit of something.
All right. Well, we know we've been dying for 3-phase for a long time.
All right.
So
There's a hint. Okay, you heard it here first. Tesla is working on a 3-phase, but the truth is really most people who would look at Tesla say, well, that is overdue and it's probably coming. So that's good. That's good to know.
Yep.
All right, great. So we got an exclusive here.
Look, for anyone with, and this is probably a question that we get coming in terms of existing Powerwall 2 owners, there will be cross-compatibility with Tesla Powerwall 3 and Powerwall 2.
Well, that's important, isn't it? Oh, very good. Very good. Okay. So, and you don't have to be really just loving one brand, isn't it? I mean, how many different batteries do you currently carry? I mean, when people say, oh, we can supply anything, whatever the customer wants, I go, no, you got to have a reason why you trust this product and why you trust that manufacturer. So I don't subscribe to that, I give you everything. So when it comes to PSW, the batteries that you recommend and the panels you recommend, can you run through them quickly as to why you picked those particular products?
The batteries we hone in on are the ones that we can support long term and assist people in growing their energy ecosystem. So,
what brands then?
So the brands, Tesla is one. That's at one of our foundation models that we've consistently supported, and
they supported you.
Wow, it took a long time. Look, credit to Tesla, they've got a great installer network. They're even bringing in they call it a TIP score, a Tesla installer performance score, so that everyone can get a better understanding of how they're qualifying their projects.
Right. Tesla, you do SIG?
Yep, SIG.
What else?
Goodwe.
Right.
Goodwe's a great product for a more budget-conscious customer, and it's all of them are refined based on how much we have to attend to a product after the point of sale.
But I mean, there are other brands as well, and I just mentioned some. There's the Fox ESS, there's the Anchor, EcoFlow, I believe. I mean, I could possibly rattle down 10 now.
It's an exciting time to be in solar.
You must be spoiled for choice.
Yeah, we are.
But you can't really carry them all.
No. And I think once you've got a good installation workflow from procurement to installation to software and support, then it's best to hone in on those brands that work for you.
Right. Because the the installation and then later on the commissioning, that's where I've seen people who've took 2.5, 3 hours to install the battery, and then there were another 2 hours there to try and commission the damn thing. And they were on wait line on some lines for an hour and a half.
I think this is why SIG Energy has been so popular with many installers.
Because they have a shorter line on the phone, or you don't need to ring them in the first place?
I believe it's commissioned within 5 minutes of being on site. So it's a very speedy commissioning process in terms they refined it. And the good news is a lot of other manufacturers are now following suit. So we listen to installer feedback from site a lot. We try to I try to understand what products are resonating with them the most, and it does usually come down to commissioning times. And all of these products have very low resistance from that level.
What he means by low resistance is you press the button and actually something happens. It doesn't go into that. But that's what the case in the early days, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The dongle wouldn't work with this, and you couldn't get it connected to the Wi-Fi.
And then they want firmware updates.
Yeah. As soon as you turn it on, there's 4 firmware updates waiting in the wings.
That's right. And so that's quite tedious from an installer perspective. And even functionally, you're going to want something that, when similar to buying any sort of consumer product. Once you've got it in your house, you want it to be as easy to drive as possible, even if you do need to do a reset at some point in time.
Right. I think we're kind of going possibly here for an hour and 20 already. Do you know that?
Okay.
We can talk underwater, but I do have an important thing that I want to talk to you about.
Yeah.
And I'm really quite annoyed. When I started to sell solar, I really only sold a couple of systems at $15,000 for 1.5 kilowatt to people who were very, very environmental conscious. That was your only audience you had. Nobody did it for electricity bills because when you pay that much, your ROI was 20 years. But now the environmental element, which is one of the reasons we're supposed to go all into renewables, it's kind of fallen a bit away because electricity bills are so high. And what do you do with your old solar panels from a recycling point of view?
Well, we send them to Africa to be reused.
Okay, now can I tell you that I've really liked you and I really thought we have great harmony, but I don't actually like that solution.
You don't?
No, and I'll give you a reason why. Firstly, it makes us still as this kind of big brother giving down to the lower brother, and where a lot of the panels that are going out are 220s, 250s, 270s maybe, they send off. And the 440s, 450s, maybe 410s, less efficient, are so cheap now that why doesn't an African village deserve the bloody latest best solar panel instead of a bloody crappy hand-me-down that I don't even half the time know how it works? So what we're really doing is sending electronic waste overseas, wiping our hands of it, make us feel in our heart a little bit warm and fuzzy that we helped somebody. But in truth, we just made our headache go away. And shouldn't we really be introducing more responsible recycling?
Well, I'd like to see it, but there's not many options out there for it. So,
but I mean, would you say that African option, I think two things. The government is actually already has decided that you're not allowed to export panels anymore.
Okay.
So that's going to be very shortly done. So we really need to.
Something will have to change quickly.
I mean, it's 2007 we started the solar boom. This is close to 20 years ago, and we're still scratching our head about recycling. It's ridiculous. I believe you can recycle the glass, you can recycle the aluminium frame, and even the actually cells and the solder has silver in it and copper, which is all recyclable. So I don't get it that when the government throws these rebates out, they're not putting 5% aside for starting a proper recycling industry.
Well, I guess the cost of adoption is so low that you could almost build it in.
That's right. I mean, when I was working for LG and we brought panels in, if you would have asked me to add 2 cents per watt, which would have been $5.40 at 270s or, at $3.50, $7, as a manufacturer, we would have been able to cover that because if everybody goes up at the same time, there's no difference in the variance. And panels have still gone down this way from $1,400, $1,500 to $100.
I don't think people would even notice it.
That's right. So my point is you just need that vision to kind of go ahead. And the bigger one is you must have had dead batteries on arrival now, once or two. What do you do with them?
We send them back to the manufacturer.
Oh, well, okay, fair enough. In that case, yeah, that's a good answer. Because it was dead on arrival. But are you surprised if I tell you that some manufacturers are now renting warehouses where they store their busted batteries with no idea where to put them?
Well, I would be surprised.
You would be or you wouldn't?
No, I would. Because I think they would want them, it's more beneficial to have them working. And
no, I get that. Of course. Yeah, if I dead battery or a working battery, I'm somehow not making myself clear and I'll take complete responsibility for talking garbage. But my point is this. The shipping of a battery, which can theoretically be a dangerous good, is expensive. And especially ones that maybe had a technical issue. And therefore, shipping them back to maybe, let's say, China to get the raw materials out of it is not very economical, viable. So therefore, at the moment, they're being stored, hoping for recycling industry to be developed down the track in Australia where they can go to. And my point is, $100 million lopped off that $2.3 billion would have been $2.2 billion. Do you think in the press release anybody would have been less impressed with 2.2 than 2.3?
No, you're right.
And would $100 million made a difference to develop a recycling industry?
It made a huge difference.
There you go. So my point is, what are you going to do with the older batteries down the track that you cannot send back to the manufacturer anymore? Or maybe that should be the deal. They have to take it back. But are you in WA got a place where you can recycle batteries right now?
there is. I know. The narrative wants.
No. If there's blind Freddy who smashes them and sucks the copper out of it, I'd like to know about it.
I don't know of there being of the exact name of it, but Lithium Australia, I think, have an affiliation in battery recycling, but I don't know
the details. Because you didn't have to use it yet.
No, that's right.
Okay, but
if forced, I will find it.
Right. But would you think that this podcast makes you walk away now and maybe look that up and be able to actually have that information for in case you need it in the future?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's too prevalent to follow you up there. It's very shallow in terms of what we've got for solar panel and battery recycling, and it would be great to see more.
Right. And you see, guys, these podcasts, we haven't discussed, I'm going to be nice to you and I'm not going to throw you under the bus. It makes good podcast when you can throw the person under the bus, make them sweat, and they actually haven't got always the solution, because that's real, And so I'm sorry I threw you under the bus for the recycling, because I know actually from a personal discussion when we had private conversations, a lot of people are really just focused on the dollar and cent in their business, but you actually have, and he's not paying me for this, you do actually have a wider vision. You want your staff to be happy. You want the environment to benefit. You want the customer to have a great outcome.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
Well, this is
PSW. That's what Per Solar Warehouse does.
I think having ISO certifications embedded in our business does help with that. We're forced to be annually conscious environmentally. Ensure that we're always putting procedures in place to make sure that our staff can go home safe every day, and making sure from a quality perspective that we've got the right business management systems in place that we can consistently grow and be a sustainable business. And I think that holistically for an end user is what they should be looking for in a company. In terms of I love the environmental talk, because I'm always trying to look at ways to better ourselves. We are a subject of the system that we're in a little bit, but we do have a lot of great recycling practices in place in terms of cardboard and aluminium waste and other metals.
What about pallets? What do you do with your pallets from the solar panels?
I'm not too sure on the pallets, but we do have them get collected.
They're usually quite sturdy and quite useful, and they can go back into the cycle. They shouldn't be just wasted.
A lot of the time they get reused out in the field as well. So we'll use them to stack up jobs and things. There is always a surplus that comes through, given the amount that of volume that we do chew through. But I think they can always be reused.
So basically, I think for the government, a little bit of advice: if you do throw money at the industry in the future, can the environmental aspects get a little bit of that, a slice of that funds as well?
It would be nice,
because we are supposed to be the leader for the rest of industry, being in the renewable. And if the world totally depends on us on some of our practices, God help us.
And that's the industry that we're in. Is we are in clean, sustainable energy.
So we should practice what we preach.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, look, I really enjoyed the talk. Is there anything else? Let's give you a chance for a 30-second plug. By the way, Derek hasn't paid for this podcast, but I really like this guy. And I'm not, when we talk about the industry and we talk about where we're going in the future and all that, I always include Derek in my conversations when I bring people around the country, because there's always a perspective coming that kind of, you realize that guy's been sitting back and thinking about this and really comes up with some stuff that is like around two corners, because he's already thought ahead. I would never want to play chess with you. You probably beat me, because I just go in and beat you. And then somebody's thought this through and bingo, off you go. So thank you. But if I'm in WA, I'm in Perth specifically, I'm looking at solar and battery, why should I look at your company, Per Solar Warehouse? Hang on, let me say that again. So if I'm in WA, in Perth specifically, and I'm looking for solar, battery, maybe even an EV charger, why should I look for PSW?
Well, first of all, you're investing in something for at least the next 10 years. And so you're going to want an installer that's been around for that time or longer. I think everyone's going to give you a 10-year plus warranty, but what justifies that? Secondly, you're going to want someone on that journey with you when you have questions. I think we're quite renowned with a good aftercare service.
Tell me about that aftercare service. What's it called?
It's referred to as PSW Life Support. So the intent behind it is that we're on the journey for the life of your product, even if it's after warranty. So it doesn't mean that we're going to warrant the system beyond
forever and ever.
But what it means is that as long as you're getting useful work out of it, then we're going to be there to support you.
And is there an extra cost for that?
Zero. It's all included in the system.
So let's say I ring you up at 5 years and 5 days, and you're not the guy who again says, "Nah, mate, the gate's closed, go away." You actually look at the system, check what's going on, and if you can get it back to life, you would help them.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly what we built the service for. In terms, people will need support beyond the warranty period. And even if it's just a Wi-Fi connection query, well, what we're doing is we're building a lot of self-help resources online, so that because most of the time when people are tinkering with their system or looking at getting back to that Wi-Fi connection that they never resolved, it's usually on a Saturday or a Sunday. And a lot of support hours aren't open during that time. So we're making it more available 24/7.
So you basically maybe have a little video to teach people what they can do to reconnect their
video, and we've got a new client portal coming out, which basically encompasses all of their project delivery and aftercare and support. So
if everything that you're claiming here to do, which is, we have the PSW Life Support, we are there responsible for your system, we're there here to back you up, that would mean that you possibly get a lot of people recommending you to their neighbors and friends, because I know many times around the barbecue, a lot of people know that there's a lot of cheap, chunky solar systems around. What's happening there then? Do you get a lot of word of mouth?
Yeah, and I think it comes down to just people wanting someone that they can trust. And I think when we have the options, they can see that there are different levels in price. But ultimately, we are in a privileged position where people do come in and say, "What would you pick if it was your home?" And it's our responsibility to be responsible with that
recommendation.
Option. Yeah, and it's not just the same one for every property. So
I mean, if you're there only for the next 2 or 3 years thinking of selling, you're probably not investing in the platinum solar.
That's right. But they still want something that's guaranteed and is going to be backed up, but still provide the solution.
And if you ever want to get onto a podcast and actually believe you have something to contribute to the industry, let end customer know more, manufacturers who feel they've got an ants pants product that does something others don't, reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. I really, really enjoyed my time with you. I've learned something again. I really appreciated you made it all the way from Perth to be here today. Derek, it's always been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marcus.
That's one part of the studio where you need to be Mr. Gadget.
I have to learn that.
And not smash the microphone. Anyway, mate, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Please support the channel by liking the video, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, and check out all our other videos. Want more energy answered? Visit yourenergyanswers.com for quality energy products, tools and calculators, and find your quality local installers. You're still here? I'll see you next time. Bye.